Hey guys, I have a new painting with a time-lapse video to show you, but here's the final piece. It's of a swamp where this witch doctor lives in this tree shack thing. It's a little bit of a not very new or original idea, but I think I was slightly successful in making it look a little bit different than the ones that you usually see. You know, just a little, I think, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, there's a family of crocodiles, even though I have no idea if crocodiles travel in family. But anyway, I guess in their world, in my world, in this world, they do. Oh, before I think you just saw that I tried to do a color sketch, even though it was probably way too early for it, which is why I went back here and tried to refine my sketch to really nail down the design before I tried to dabble in the color. Doing one thing at a time, I think, is just a lot more, it's easier, it's more organized, and I think you learn faster that way if you're a beginner. Like, if you're a veteran painter and you're just amazing, you can probably jump right in and figure that stuff out. But anyway, I kept stretching my canvas wider and wider. I just really like the look of wide paintings. I think it looks really cinematic and very cool. I tried to, I guess here is just to figure out my values because, you know, one step at a time kind of thing. Trying to really define where my focal point is and how to make sure that the audience is looking at that shack the most out of all the place. I think as I was doing this, though, I was starting to feel like that those trees, just the amount of those trees and stuff, it was becoming a little bit too distracting. And I feel like it was taking your eye a little bit away from the shack, so eventually I did figure something out. Here I'm doing just a way more refined line art. Like my design is done. I'm happy with the design, so I'm not doing too much change in terms of design, but I mean I am just accentuating shapes or accentuating structure and the gesture of things. God, I sound like an art connoisseur with all my vocabulary, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm just doing line art. Oh, and I'm also trying really hard to say a lot less because I recorded this like a bunch of times, and every time I hear myself say oh my god, I want to strangle myself. So I'm trying really, really hard not to say it. But please reprimand me if I do, because I'm gonna try really. I don't want that. I don't like the sound of it. I think it sounds just meh. Okay, back to the painting. So I continue to just do more line art. Oh god, anyway, maybe I should put like an counter so that just to embarrass myself and motivate me to say less. I guess I might as well talk about it because there's not much to say while I'm doing line art. I'm just really going over the unrefined sketch underneath, which is, you know, I lower the opacity in the layers. And these plants, just so you know, it's not like I just thought of it randomly, like I'm this plant genius. I actually looked at, you know, reference for it. So is that any tip that any artist should know is that you should look at reference very, very often, because there's no reason not to, for one, and it just makes you a better artist, and it makes you, I actually think it makes you more creative than if you don't have anything to base, if you don't have any jumping point from. A little shrunken head. I think they're kind of cute. Line art, I think the line art was the most, easy, not easy, sorry, I don't want to say easy. It was the least stressful part, I believe, because I had this, the design down at least of how the thing would look. But once I get into color and once I get into just refining the values, it was a pain. I really struggled with this painting. I was all over the place in terms of my thoughts. I think it's good to paint all over the place, but I don't think it's good for you to be indecisive, pretty much. That was my problem, was that I was very indecisive about what way I was going. But I think that when you paint, I don't believe that you should stick to one area for longer than like 10, 20 minutes. Even that seems kind of long. You should be jumping around and making sure that you're building the painting all together at once, rather than focusing on one area until it's beautiful and then you have to do the rest. I think that loses part of the fun, personally. And here it might look like I'm redoing a bunch of the values that, because I did a value sketch before, like, why am I redoing it? I'm actually not. I'm just putting the different sections, like the shack, the bridge, the tree in the front, and then the trees in the back, on its own layers, just in these flat gray colors, because I want to, this is what I wanted to do, was that I wanted to easily just use color balance and the hue saturation tool to change the colors for a base local color for me to paint on. It helps a lot, I think, when things are separated in those layers like that. So yeah. Here I go with color. Oh man. I'm just not gonna talk if I don't have anything to say, I think, because I don't want to just put filler stuff. These bottles were really fun. The candles too. Pretty colored bottles. I don't know what witch doctor would put a bunch of her potions on the roof of her shack, but my witch doctor does, apparently. I just thought they'd be really cool. I don't know. Maybe she, like, that's where she put her old stuff that she doesn't really need anymore or something. She just puts it on there just to scare people off, or just to make sure that people know what kind of place this is. Logic. With this painting, I was actually kind of trying something a little bit new in how I was building up to the lighter stuff. I follow this one artist called, his YouTube username is Webang111. It's WEBANG 111, and he just has a really cool technique in which you keep most of your painting quite dark for a really long time while you're deciding the base colors. So you're trying to decide all of your local colors first and making sure that looks good, and then you add your highlights and stuff, and you build on top of that as you go. So I actually really like it because it's a lot more organized than starting in the middle and trying to go lighter and darker. Whereas if you just start dark, then you're just building up to light, and there's kind of only one way to go. I think it also helps make a painting less muddy looking, and I think it's also easier when you're trying to do a more complicated lighting, lightly, kind of like, like this dappled light that is coming through the trees. I don't know if I would be able to really do that if I didn't do it in this technique, because it's kind of tough. Just making it convincingly look like as if it's light coming through the leaves of some trees that are covering the sky. To be honest, I don't even know if that lighting would happen in a environment like this, because I feel like the tree leaves would hang straight down and it wouldn't like branch out and give all this interesting shadows, but whatever. More refining. I also, at first, you know, the color, I mean, the light that was coming outside, out from the shack is, it was orange, and I changed it to green because I felt like my painting was kind of all over the. It was feeling a little bit too incohesive. I don't even know if that's a word, incohesive. Anyway, it just didn't feel like the colors like made sense. So there was an orange, there's red, there's green, and there's blue in this painting, and I just felt like that was way too. That just didn't feel cohesive, and so I changed the orange to a green, so that it would feel more at home with the other green, the blue, and the blue. And then that one thing that's red is just trees, or sorry, not trees, just the plants and the lilies. So I think that helped. Although technically, I probably should have maybe had red come out of it because, you know, there's the contrast with the red and green. It would make the audience look at that red light coming out of the shack. But I was really married to the idea of having red plants because I've never seen, I guess, anything like it, and I would just really wanted to do it. At least I tried to keep a bunch of the really bright red plants close to the shack and nothing near the foreground so that the audience isn't looking anywhere but at least, you know, in the general area of the shack. Crocodiles. I also then got feedback from my professor about, you know, just the way this painting was going, and I wasn't completely happy with it, and he told me that like 9 out of 10, the problem with a painting is hardly ever the color. 9 out of 10, it's because of the values. It means the values structure is just not great. And the problem with my painting was that there was no clear distinction between the foreground and the background. So here I darkened up the beginning of the bridge and this foreground tree so that it's really obvious that they're on a separate spatial layer than the rest of the painting. And that way it makes the middle part also stand out. But yeah, this is my final painting. I hope you guys like it. I still don't know if I do. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but I'm just really glad I tried something really different, and I also tried a really new way of painting, which I actually really like. And this is kind of a lighting scheme that I would never have thought to really do, I guess. So I'm more or less happy to okay with it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.